Coming up next on the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast.
Every person listening knows who that is. And that's because of Facebook ads. The competition, who sucks, is doing that and it's working. They're getting people.
From your first dollar to your first million, welcome to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast, presented by ZenMaid. Join your host, Stephanie Pipkin, founder of Serene Clean, as she shares proven tips, tricks, and hard-earned lessons. Whether you're just starting out or ready to scale, get ready to discover how to build your own cleaning empire. Let's roll up our sleeves and dive in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Pipkin, and today I have a marketing masterclass treat for you with my guest Horatio from Grow Baby Grow. I can't wait for you guys. We're going to delve into every single lesson that we possibly can in the next hour or so, all about marketing, funnels, paying for advertising, which you guys know that sometimes I don't necessarily suggest. So I am here to learn as well. Horatio, thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait to learn from you.
Yeah, thank you for having me here, Stephanie. I'm really happy to be here and hopefully share some valuable things for you and your audience.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, tell me about where you come from. How did you get involved in cleaning businesses?
So I am Horatio. So I'm originally from Nicaragua. That's the, kind of like complicated name, Horatio or Horacio, when you're feeling like a risk taker. And I've been, initially from Nicaragua, I started my first business was over there. I actually had a backpackers hostel that I opened up in a surf town south of Nicaragua. Nicaragua is close to Costa Rica. So run that for about 5 years until COVID. COVID had to shut down, close it for about 18 months. And during that time, I was like, oh man, my entrepreneurship career is kind of like taking a spin, I have to get a job now. So I was applying for remote jobs from Nicaragua, and I actually got a gig. It was a freelancing gig at ZenMaid Cleaning. From you have Neil, and Neil, and that was like my first client, but he only got me for about 10 hours. So I'm like, what else do I do? All this free time, right? So I got another gig, and then through referrals, I started building my agency. And that was about 5 years. Whenever we started, I was pretty much doing a little bit of everything and for different industries. But over the past, I would say 2.5 years, we've niched down into the home service and particularly cleaning. We've been part of the ZenMaid's franchise as they scale, right? And implementing these systems and trying new marketing initiatives. So growing, with them. And then also focusing more on the system side. So, we do a little bit of paid advertisement and things, but the real opportunity that we saw is on fixing, once you get a lead and once you get customers, how do you fix the leaks that is in those buckets? So a lot of people are just not having the right follow-up, or maybe they're not doing the follow-up, or if they're doing it, they don't know what their metrics are. They don't know if their scripts are working out. If you have a customer, you don't really know if the customer is going to come again. So a lot of it is the lack of clarity on the metrics that you need to run your business. And then once you have that, it's understanding that there's money to be made after the initial sale. And that gives you a lot of more room to invest in ads or any other marketing initiative. So that's kind of where I started and where we're focusing on right now.
That's amazing. Quite the journey you've had, it sounds like. And I love that you've niched down. I'm sure universally with small businesses, we all struggle so much with managing leads as they come in. Number one, getting leads, but then totally screwing it up when we do have them. And honestly, I see it almost like lighting money on fire when you don't have a proper follow-up system. And I would say 99% of small business, cleaning business owners do not have a proper follow-up system in place, at all. And they drop the ball. Is that something that you're seeing a lot with small business owners?
Yeah. So I see three main categories whenever I talk to a new, somebody's curious about what we offer. The first is, and they're probably all listening to this, because the first type of client is you already have these systems, right? When I talk about the system, just to be clear, I'm talking about a four-piece system that follows the journey of your customer. The first step is you gotta generate your leads, right? Like this is through ads or like your marketing initiatives. Then you gotta nurture and close these leads, right? You're gonna turn it from a lead into a customer, which is your follow-ups on that hot lead pipeline, if you want to call it. Then they become a customer, right? Like once they become a customer, what else do you want? That's a different relationship from a lead. Like do you want to do a different onboarding? Do you want to send them a postcard? Do you want to follow up after the first cleaning, right? To like leave a review. So what is the process after you become a customer? And then is all those lost deals, churn customers or leads that didn't convert. How are you still top of mind for these people? So those are, you capture your lead, you close the sale, you get them to come back as a customer. And if not, you have a long-term plan to bring them back. So those are kind of like these specialization that we're doing right now. I think I went through a tangent.
No, you're good. This is a super tangential podcast. Don't worry, I go on like stories.
Right. Exactly. So it's defined. Okay, so the three people that are seeing this. Some people have this, right? Some people, they have these systems and they're happy with it. They're converting like 40-45% of their leads. They know what their average, purchases per year per customer. They have all that, and that's super, super good. Then there's another one that a lot of people have these systems. So they already got a CRM and they paid someone to like implement the systems. But a lot of times I get there and like nobody's even looking at these systems, right? Like the systems are all like the tasks are all uncompleted tasks. There's no data, right? Because they're not managing the system. And this is a system that it's not only the system, it's the process of how do you move your company with these systems. How do you evolve, right? The system should evolve as your company evolves. And you can try different things, more follow-ups, less follow-ups, different scripts, different offers. So that's the second one, people that just set it and forget it. And then the third ones are people that they don't even know. Like these systems exist in your business. You have a follow-up process. It could be really bad. Like you could not even be returning missed calls, for example, but that's a process. You're not doing it. So a lot of people are just not have that clarity. And that is, for me, it's like even more dangerous because how are you going to invest money if you don't know if you're making money back from it? It becomes really hard. And then a lot of people get stuck on that fear that if I invest in Facebook, I'm not making enough money on the first purchase, and they have no clarity on the back end. So they just freeze and they stop spending and they stop growing. So those are the three type of like people that I see.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially that latter one. A lot of those folks are getting most of their leads through word of mouth. And so because they've gotten to the point that they are now by word of mouth, they think that that's going to be like what they just need to do in the future. And that 100%, that's not going to always be that way, and word of mouth really ebbs and flows. Not that all, I suppose, lead channels don't ebb and flow somewhat. But when it comes to consistency, it's like you can't guarantee that somebody's going to come to you word of mouth. And if that's the way you've gotten to a couple cleaners or your own schedule booked up, it doesn't mean that that's what's going to work in the future. We have to learn and change. And that's what this conversation is going to be about, is some of these different avenues of marketing. And especially with paid advertising, I know so many people get burned. Either they set something up and they don't know what they're doing, or they pay somebody to set it up and they get massively burned, or maybe have incorrect expectations related to what is about to happen. So I'd love to hear how you help your clients set expectations, or if somebody is looking to utilize paid advertising, which everybody should from what you are saying, how would you suggest they set that expectation of what is a reasonable thing to expect to happen out of it?
That's a great question. And I know that the lead generation is kind of like the first part of the system, but in reality, I would recommend working backwards, because if you don't have your proper follow-up in place, and if you're not tracking the right data, then we don't run ads for anybody if the back-end funnels are not, at least we don't have visibility. Because the reality is, like, the prices of the ads are going up, and that's historically in the marketing world. It goes like that. You get a new, Facebook just came out, right? And like the ads were really cheap on Facebook, and then started becoming more expensive. Instagram came out, same process. TikTok right now is cheaper, but it will get. And you see things like LSA, which are huge for home service and cleaning companies. And there's not a lot of optimism. Like LSA is pretty simple, right? You just create your profile, turn it on and off. So there's not like a lot of skill in like bringing the cost per call down. There's like a few things that you can do, but we've seen like like a 50% increase in LSA cost over the last year and a half. And unless you're raising the prices for 50% on your business, then it's a different dynamic. And what needs to be happening is you need to focus on retention. And reality is like, if you want to be able to afford the rising cost of ads, you need to focus on retention. You need to make sure that your one-time customers are coming back. You need to make sure that your recurring customers go through, like about 80% of recurring customers cancel within the first 3 bookings. So if you're not designing that specific journey and like tweaking things and testing, then you know, that's where you're going to be leaving some stuff. And one of my clients right now, we are losing about 20% of the money that we're doing on ads on the first purchase, but we have scaled ads like 200% because we know that they're coming back. You know, we know, for example, that every one-time customer is going to come back 2.5 times in the next year on average, for example, right? So we know that on months 2 or 3, we're going to be profitable. So that creates a lot of leverage because then you can spend a lot of money. In that, you can spend as much money. Right now, we are and it's like, how much money can we spend in LSA, even at $60 per lead, because you understand the math behind it, and that allows a business to scale.
The reoccurring nature of it, and why the focus so heavily needs to be on converting somebody from a first time to a reoccurring client. That's, for example, for us, our offer always has been book your first cleaning, get your second 50% off to entice them to do the second one. I'm not personally comfortable with giving a bunch off the first because that could be, $1,000 clean or whatever. Some people run it, and that's totally fine. That's how we've decided to do it. And honestly, it just helps get them into that habit of having cleanings, and then working so hard to nail it those first couple ones, so that they're just trying you out, they're trusting you and all of these things, that if you screw up in those first couple ones, like you said, they're way more likely to drop. And then you invested this money into getting them, and then you lost them, and they might tell other people that you suck. So
I know, and then you get less word of mouth.
Exactly, reverse word of mouth.
That's a bad funnel. We don't want to be in that funnel.
Yes. So is there anything that you would say are some low-hanging fruit for our listeners to do a better job on this kind of like what you say, building out the back end of the process, meaning being able to actually nail the cleanings, nail the communication? Because improper communication is such a widespread problem, I would say, across all businesses everywhere, but specifically in home service-based businesses, because a lot of times the owner is out cleaning or out doing the physical labor, and that just makes it really hard for them to be quick about it with leads.
Yeah, definitely. Well, this is where having software really gives you a lot of leverage. If you have a CRM, and I know that a lot of people already have some sort of CRM, I would say the lowest. So first of all, make sure that you're tracking the data, because it's at the end, you're working off a conversion rate. Is the way I say. Like, I go, and when I work with my customers, we look at on a quarterly basis. Okay, how many leads did you get, and how many did you convert, and what's your conversion rate? You can look at it at different sources, like your Google My Business, right, so that you can see it. But you have that number, and then on that number, we apply a very simple experimentation process, which is, this is where we are right now. If we make these changes, we think that this is going to happen, right? And this can be try a new offer, change the message, whatever, more touch points, less touch points. So we do a big experiment on a quarterly basis. We have our benchmark, and then we get the results. If the results are good, then that becomes the new control, if you want to see it, for the next round of iteration. And if it does not work out, then we understand why, and we get insights for our next iteration. So it's a systematic process that we do on a quarterly basis for bigger experiments and month to month, so that you can actually get that conversion. Because at the end is that whenever we get a customer, a lot of people have like 18 to 20% conversion rate, and they don't even know sometimes. And that's, it's definitely room for improvement on that. Like general, I mean, I know that there's some like bad quality sources, but we see a lot of people that start with 20, and then we 35 to 40% is where we target to take them.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people who are, one, don't have any type of sales process, or you're starting out and you just are flat out, you haven't had any practice at all at sales. Like sales is a skill. Closing leads is an absolute skill. Following a sales script on the phone, that's a skill. And so when we start our businesses, we probably suck at all of these things. And we're also very embarrassed by the fact that we suck. And unfortunately, that's that causes you to clam up, where the exact opposite is needed, which is like so much practice until you get better. Yeah. So many of us think I've heard this a million times. My area just won't accommodate those prices. It won't take those prices. Like everybody's cheap here. And it's like, I'm in rural Wisconsin. We're charging $55 per man hour. I never in a million years would have thought that was possible in that particular area. And it's no problem. And that has to do with marketing, sales, branding, all of that stuff. The market will bear it, guys. It's just, you may suck right now at sales, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean you stop trying. And I love that you kind of gave that example of experimentation. But the biggest thing is you're practicing, you're observing what happened, and then you're tweaking it. It's like, a science experiment. You can't just do it and then be like, well, that didn't work, I'm going to just stop doing this altogether. Like, we got to tweak it. Yeah.
I mean, I like to think that as long as you are, doing that process of trying something, figuring out if it works or if it doesn't, getting that data, and then identifying the issue and doing that process over and over and over again, then as long as you don't quit, you'll figure it out, at the end. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. And in terms of low hanging fruits, if they have a system, definitely we have one simple automation, which is if you get a missed call, then send a text message. A lot of these missed calls are spam calls. Spam calls are crazy nowadays. But you get some customers over there. And that is an automation that if you have a CRM, sometimes it takes a minute to set up. And that would be, I think, high value. And then if you have to start, I know we said about your customer retention and your win backs, but just having a clear follow-up process in place and starting with your lead conversion. Whenever you're optimizing, you want to start optimizing where you have more eyeballs as a rule of thumb, because unless you have a lot of people on your Book Now page, right? Changing the font color in your Book Now page, it's better to fix your front end, how many leads you're getting, what your conversion rate is, and then be like, okay, I'm doing a 3-step process. Is that working out? Am I getting responses or no? Okay, what if I do 5 times? What if I change the wording? So focusing on the missed calls and then the lead nurture as a first step in your optimization process, if you would like to call it.
I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling a lot of our listeners are totally clamming up right now because they're like, I don't even know what we're talking about. Because honestly, a lot of I would say, again, 99% of people who open cleaning businesses are actively cleaning while they're listening, or they have been most recently cleaning. And I think that's where we go cross-eyed when it comes to spending money. We know we should be spending money on advertising, but we don't even know where to start. So would you say, LSA, so local service advertisement, so that's through Google My Business, very easy to set up.
Yeah.
Paid advertising on Google. I'd love to hear, how much would you even suggest somebody to start with? Or is it change depending on the size of their business? What is the minimum budget, would you say, that is actually going to be fruitful for them?
So I guess it kind of depends. I think that LSA, it's a lot easier to manage. Facebook and Google ads, regular Facebook ads, you need some sort of a little bit more skills than to manage LSA, some sort of tech skills, know how to create an ad, right? But the benefit of those is that if you're just getting started, then LSA might not be, you might not be getting enough leads on LSA because you're a new business, so you don't have enough reviews, right? And then the other one is SEO, which is going to take some time. So when you're getting started, definitely like at least being on LSA, right? Thumbtack is another one that can get you leads that are cheaper than LSA. Varies the quality depending on the market from what I've seen, but I've seen some people that have really good results with Thumbtack, and those are like the easy ones. Now, if you're able to run Facebook or Google Ads, I've seen leads on Facebook ads coming below $20 cost per lead, less quality, of course, and then Google Ads similar to LSA, but again, the good thing with Facebook and Google is that you control it. Like if even if you want to spend a lot of money in LSA, if you don't have a lot of reviews, it's going to be hard to use that budget. Versus if you're able to do that with Facebook and Google, then it doesn't matter if you're starting and have not so many reviews, you can generate traffic. But that's the compromise, a little bit harder to manage. It's not turning it on and off. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to like Facebook ads, like something that I've seen a lot of people do is the ads are terrible. And so then they think that, again, Facebook ads don't work or whatever. And it's like the content of these ads really, really, really matter. So do you have any particular formula that you follow for these ads of like hook, blah, 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 blah? Like what exactly do you follow when you're drafting these?
Yeah. It's things like before and after. So first of all, video, it's definitely working. Like static images is almost dead. Some people are using just regular pictures and images, but there's, it's all moving to Reels and TikTok, right, and that type of video. So in that area, we've seen some success in before and after. So if you were to do, like my house before this cleaning company came, and then right after, we also like a day in the life. So, I'm a person, this normal day in my life, right? I go to work, come back. I don't have to worry about cleaning because everything is taken care of. So working like that. And then something that we're doubling down in this, it's something that we still need to see. I believe there's going to be an ROI. It's on working with a network of creators. So since the entire ad landscape is going to video, so if you wanna be profitable on Facebook ads, you're probably going to have to run ads that are video ads. And if you're going to be running video ads, I think that it's worth exploring, working with a few creators and telling them I'll, give you a 2 or 3 hour cleaning for free in exchange of 1 or 2 videos, having them, posted, and then giving, you can sponsor their video, so you can connect to their account. And then that makes it an easier way because you don't have to create the content. You just got to go, reach out to the influencer or the creator, go clean the house, get the video, then sponsor and start getting leads. So they're making it easier. That's another thing that I think it would be. You don't need a lot of skill to find a few people, offer a free cleaning in exchange of video, and then sponsor their content.
That's such a good idea to find influencers to do that. That was like my old fashioned, but when I opened, I reached out to influencers in our area, which was like stay at home moms who had money. And I asked, can I clean your house in exchange for an honest review? And that was before I knew of the power of video. Nowadays we get video testimonials. And actually that's the only thing I've ever spent money on for Facebook ads is video testimonials, and it works very, very well. Would you say that is a good use of video ads, is testimonials?
Yeah, absolutely. Testimonials are good. You want to keep it short, especially if you're running lower budget. You want to do shorter videos. So testimonials that are within 15 to 60 seconds. And then you just running at that. And they're making, I don't want to make it sound that if some people in your audience are trying to get into Facebook ads, they are making it easier, in a way, they're using a bunch of AI. So now they really get your hand, and it's hey, just upload a bunch of videos, write some copy. They have their own AI now; they can do their own copy. But I definitely think that working with creators in that fashion, you could even think about an affiliate model with the creators as well to keep them incentivized. So, we'll give you $10 per lead that we get, something like that, right? We give you a free cleaning, and then we'll promote your cleaning. And for every lead that we get, I can give you $5 or $10.
That is really creative. I love that. And especially considering like how many owners I've talked to who are very, very camera shy, despite me trying to force them to make content, because it is so valuable. But I understand people feel uncomfortable on that sometimes. So yeah, that's really great suggestions. I'm like already, my brain's going of like, oh, who could I do that with?
I know.
Finding an influencer though, that's in the wild in our area, maybe a little bit more challenging, but I like the creativity for sure.
Yeah. Well, at the end, it's not as much as about the reach for this tactic. So you can go with like smaller influencers. You just want to make sure that they have really nice quality, because the reach, it's really hard to find an influencer that their target audience is from the area, which is technically, if you want to use the influencer reach, is because they reach your target audience. But in local businesses, it's a little hard because, you might have somebody that is, fashion, right? They have millions of followers, but they're everywhere in the world. So this tactic, it's more about getting high quality content for about, the cost of a 2 or 3 hour cleaning. Sure. And then have them share, right? But at the end, it's about having that video and then sponsoring that video so that you can control the amount of leads that you're getting.
No, that makes perfect sense. This just makes me think, wherever your ad is pushing them, most likely a website. There's some bad websites out there in our industry. I've seen a lot of bad websites, and honestly, sometimes I don't even want to tell people to run any ads because their website is so dang bad. I'm like, ooh, this is going to turn people away. So what do you got for websites? What do our people need to hear about having a good website and why it's so important to invest in it? But I think a lot of people are scared. Like they see the price tags of a good web designer or whatever, and it's just like, gosh, I don't have that kind of money. So, any tips there?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are other options that don't require a website through advertisement. You got Facebook leads. You can advertise through Messenger. You can do WhatsApp. So there are other ways to advertise, and we actually do a little bit of all of them so that we can try and measure the different quality. I think it's more important to get to a lead fast. So whichever you're more comfortable with, like if you're going to be on Messenger and you can reply to a lead within a minute, that will be your best chance. Now having a website allows you to kind of like, seduce the person a little bit more, right? Or like just share a little bit more about your offer, about your specific service. So, but in reality, specifically for cleaning companies, I think that if you have a straightforward offer, like a service, a cleaning, I think that running Facebook leads, which is basically just, the person just sees something and you can ask for the information right there, because you don't need to explain the service super in depth. Unless you have a different offer, right? If you want to do something like, a specific offer for recurring customers, and you're going to give a discount on your second cleaning, right? And you can build a website, then you can just go over there. And in terms of building the website, that's another thing. Like nowadays, it's becoming easier. Like the AI is making things easier. Now having a super nice branded website, like it can be expensive, but if you just want to spin something up nowadays you don't need to be a developer. I'm not a developer. Now it's kind of like drag and drop, and you have templates. So you have a template. I like this one, and then you change the colors, you change the copy, you change the pictures. So it's becoming easier. And if not, there's always freelancers that can like spin up a quick site as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can find a lot of good quality people online who they can do it for a more affordable price for sure. So that is good to hear that it's not like you have to spend an arm and a leg. It's just more about be clean, be professional. And make sure your offers are very concise. And something I see too is just like not being clear about, sometimes I get to websites and it's like, well, where do you even serve? And I'm like searching to even find like their service area or what city or state they're in. So just even like the basics, guys, is sometimes like forgotten of like, well, I know where my business is. You don't even think to put it on your website, you know? So little things like that can be easy mistakes to make for sure. So I'd love to go more into, I guess, like funnels, and I guess, can you even define what that means in a marketing sense? What is a funnel?
Everything is a funnel. We're in a funnel right now. No, so basically, a funnel is it represents a process or a system, right? It's the way that a person goes from awareness, like of discovering your brand, to being a super customer, right? Like they first have to see an ad, and they click on the ad, and they're not convinced, so you send them a few emails. So it's that process, and in a business, it usually goes from discovery phase of being aware of the brand to getting going from a lead to a customer. That's a really important time. So that a lot of you see, like even the what's the name of this thing company now? There are ads everywhere. The $19.
Home Glow. Hate them.
Home Glow. Yeah, right. But that's like one of the reasons that they're able to do that is because the moment that even if it's $1, the moment that you have a credit card, the moment you have that information, the relationship changes. It's so much hotter lead whenever you already have that, even a $1. So that would be the next step, right? You go from lead to a customer, and then once you have a customer, the way that we design it for cleaning companies is we have a journey for one-time customers, and then we have another one for recurring customers. For one-time customers, it's about getting them to come back, right? So they become a customer after their first cleaning. There's a review, a message to get the review, a follow-up call from the sales team, and then there's hey, it's been a month, right, since we last went to your house on month 1. And then we have another promo on month 3, another one on month 6. And it can change from cleaning company, but that's, the thing is, you get a one-time customer, how do you get them to come back? For the recurring customer, what we do is we can break down the journey by every single. So if you want, for example, to send a postcard after the second cleaning, you can do that. If you want to, send we do like the referral program, so we can add a referral. So if you complete 3 bookings, tell them that we have a really good referral program, right? Like this is the person that is ready. And then we can do that for 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever cleanings that you have. So and that I think is, if you think about it, like that's where most of this money with like a change in, like if you get all your customers to instead of purchase 1 time per year to go to 2, or if you get your recurring customers to like go from like 5 on average to 7, that is huge. That is, it's the core of the business. So that's where once we get to about 35 to 40% of your lead conversion, then we're like, how do we increase your customer lifetime value? So we have those 2 journeys, and then the final system or the final funnel, right? We have lead conversion from lead to customer retention, right? From customer to repeat customer or to referrals. And then the last one is our win backs, which is the customers that canceled or the leads that never converted. So we are like sending right now, for example, spring cleaning is coming. So we do a campaign and we send spring cleaning, right? And then we try to reactivate them. And once they get reactivated, whether that is they've been clicking on the emails or they just tell us that they've been interacting with the brand, then we have like a specific follow-up for them.
What do you think about, because I'm curious about this. What do you think about like having offers and coupons and sales and things like cheapening a brand? Like, for example, Serene Clean, we're really focused on like kind of super high quality, we're not cheap. Like we don't skip anything. Like I've always been really averse to like doing sales or coupons or offers outside of what I've already described to you, because I'm like, does that not cheapen us? Like, what do you think about that? I'm open to, being persuaded.
I think it's kind of like 2 different strategies. If you have the flexibility to really go premium and like over deliver in a way, whether that is to like have a better, if you're different and better in some other ways with the other cleaning companies, then you can frame it and then like instead of having the promotions, be like, well, we're cheaper, not because of the price, but because we bring a lot more value. right? We can be like checklists, or like send you or include a different deep cleaning on every, so you have something on your brand. Then you can go over there. But the reality is that coupons are effective. It can affect the brand. Hard to measure the impact that it has on brand, but it's easy to measure that once you send a coupon, like what is the reply rate? Like you can compare that. So there is an impact. There is some people that are waiting for that. So I would say consider it. And if you're not going to do coupons, make sure that it's because you are able to add value in a different way.
Oh, absolutely. And I think like what you just said of like, are we differentiating enough that we are able to justify the lack of coupons, where I think a lot of when you're starting off, like, no, like there isn't anything different about you than probably most cleaning companies, which nobody wants to hear, but you probably haven't established a strong brand identity or have the overhead to accommodate the things that do make, us different. So for us, we're really into, our whole culture is about our staff and pouring into them and super heavy benefits and family first and all of that stuff. And we really promote that as our brand. So we can now afford to, not do that type of thing. But I would imagine for a lot of people, it is exactly what makes sense. And, you brought up Homoglow, and of course I like pissed at it. But the point is we've all heard of Homoglow. So it works. Like every person listening knows who that is. And that's because of Facebook ads, 100%. So it's like, that just dawned on me of like, oh, like the competition who sucks, like is doing that and it's working. Like they're getting people, right? And so that means we should be too, because we're actually good, right?
Yeah. And like, you can tell they're not making money in that first. I think that if you need to know what your lifetime value is. That is the most important metric of your business. It's not how much are you making an average ticket sale. It's what is your lifetime value of your customer. You can do that. Like if you, a lot of the, you can download your contact base and then see how many bookings everybody has had, add everything, and then like multiply it by, you don't have to be super exact, but multiply it by your 220, 250, whatever your average ticket value is. And then get that average so that you know how much money a customer generates for you. And then use that as your reference of if you can afford ads or not. Like try to get this higher, right, by your retention funnels and systems. But that is the most important metric, because if you know that your average customer is going to leave you $1,000 in a lifetime, then, $60 for an LSA lead, even if you're closing 1 out of 3, you're paying $180 for a customer, but that customer is giving you $1,000. So if I'm going to give you $1,000 for every $180 that you give me, you would do that trade as many times as possible. But it starts with knowing what your lifetime value is.
That's I'm so happy you said that, and it brings it back to tracking and key performance indicators and so many things that so many owners don't do. And because it's like, oh, math, yuck, I don't like that. They just dismiss that they need to do it. And they're like, well, it feels like it's going well. And it's just going off of vibes is not a good thing. I actually just recorded a whole solo episode this morning about like all of the problems that come from just going off of our emotions and how we feel things are going in our businesses. So when it comes to your world, what you just said of, lifetime value is the most important metric for everybody to be tracking. What other metrics would you suggest that we track if you had to give it to somebody who's maybe a little overwhelmed? Where should they start with tracking metrics that's actually going to be like super duper important for them?
Yeah. So lifetime value, that definitely, and that is just basically adding your entire revenue over the amount of customers that you have, and you can get an estimate on that. Then your second would be your customer acquisition cost. And you want to break down by source. So if you invest $500 in Thumbtack, you want to know how many customers that brought, right? So if you know that you invest 500 and you got 3 customers, then you know that you're paying about $160 for a customer in Thumbtack. And then because you already did your lifetime value, then you'll know if it makes sense or not. So those at the very least would be like the relationship between those two is what makes a business, right? Like how much does it cost you to get a new customer, and then how much money you're making to that customer. So that's the basic, like economic of the company. And then a lot of it is about, especially in the cleaning world, it's about your ad channel performance. So wherever you're spending money, how many leads are you getting, and what is your cost per lead, and then how many of those are becoming customers. So if you were to see it, imagine a funnel, right? You have so many people that saw your Facebook ad, then so many people click on it, then so many people became a lead, and then so many people became a customer. That metric, wherever you're spending money, get those 4 metrics, and then that'll tell you where is more profitable for you.
I gotcha. No, that's really good advice to just kind of narrow it down to those few things, which depending on where you guys are advertising, of course, that'll determine how complicated this is, as well as, something I'm wondering about is we get so many organic leads just from people Google searching. Like we don't have any Google ads going right now. So say I was like running Google ad, like obviously we ask people where they come from. That's where I start to get confused of like, well, was this organic or was this paid? Like how would I figure that out?
A lot of people, what they do, or like what we do sometimes, is the simplest thing is just create a landing page, which is like another website. It could be exactly like your website, but just a duplicate page, and change the URL. And then just make sure that if you're running Facebook ads, it's going to that page. So that you can say you're running Facebook, you have a page for your Facebook ads. You're running Google, you have a page for Google. And then you can say like any lead that comes through this page, you can attribute it to the channel. So that's the simplest way. Just make sure one page per channel. There's like a couple more sophisticated ways, but it's URL. Like there's like little, I don't know if you sometimes when you click on something, you see that you're going to like apple.com, but then there's like a bunch of stuff on that is all tracking. And there's some things you can do so that you can just send people to your homepage and know where the lead is coming from. But if you have no technical expertise, then the easiest is to duplicate your page and then have one page per channel.
That's great. I'm definitely going to do that, because this is something that's always like frustrated me, is that people will just be like, well, your website, that's how I found you. And it's like, well, clearly there was something happening before that. Like, they never say it.
I know. It's the worst source.
Yeah. It's asking people where they heard, or they just leave it blank. Cause for some reason people seem like I'm not going to give you that. It's like, I'm about to be in your house. Like why won't you tell me how you found me? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Talking about privacy. All of a sudden.
People are so funny sometimes, or they don't want to give you the house address, and you need to give them.
Like, how am I going to clean?
Like, well, I don't trust you with my address. Like, what do you think we're doing here?
Remote cleaning, I guess. That's a new one.
I'll pay you and you can clean your house.
I'll tell you how to start from the top.
That's funny. Like open a consulting business and just like Zoom coach people through their house. Maybe that's probably a thing, honestly.
I mean, there's so many cleaning products nowadays, and I'm scared
to even know what to use. Yeah, for sure. That's really practical advice. So, coming back to the funnels, I guess if you were to describe a stage of the stages, meaning the discovery, the first interaction, the follow-up, where do you think people fumble the most?
Across the board, but the most important part is fixing your follow-up, I think, because it starts over there. It's even if you think about the amount of people that become new customers, is very small in compared to the amount of leads that your business is getting. So if you're going to take anything from this, I would suggest just making sure that you have a way to track. And if you don't have a software, you can do it on a spreadsheet. There's actually simple things that you can do to either you have your phone system who call you, and then just add them to a spreadsheet. and then just make sure that they're being followed like 3 or 4 times. That would be a simple way, right? How many people call you? Grab those numbers, put them into a spreadsheet. If you don't know how to like do it automatically, you do that on a daily basis, and then you can have follow up 1, follow up 2, follow up 3, like little columns that you can just check. But you want to make sure that so 5 to 7, 8 times is where we've seen the best conversion rate for home service and cleaning companies.
Wow. I'm so happy you just said those numbers, because I guarantee that nobody's doing that much follow-up, and like they're averse to it. And may I remind everybody listening, these people reached out to you. So they want you. And if people are busy, they don't answer their phone. Like, I get a ton of promotional texts every single day. It's just happenstance. If I happen to look at one, you just have to catch me at the right time. And, I don't pick up my phone like you. So it's just, exactly. You have to think that these people reached out to you. They want to know about you. And so literally bother them until, it's not even bothering them. Just follow up on what they asked you to do, which is reach out to them. So I'm really, really happy that you said so much darn follow up. And honestly, that's how we tracked our leads for a long time, was in a spreadsheet like you're describing. Like, that's like the different places they could come from across the top each week. And then I just tracked how many. I left a comment who it was, and we just made sure, we were doing the follow up. And that was, before we had a more complicated CRM process, now that we've scaled so much. But it doesn't have to be as complicated as you think, especially if you are starting out and you don't have the money for anything like that. Of course, I'm going to, tout ZenMaid we push everybody towards the booking form on ZenMaid so that all of our leads are in one place, because that is where I would say I definitely fumbled in the beginning. Was I was giving people prices on Facebook and over the phone and in person and by email. And then when I was trying to find, whatever I said, it's just like, where did I even talk to them? So that would be one of my suggestions, is trying to keep things consolidated in one space as much as possible. Yeah. Especially when you're so busy starting out.
Yeah. 100%. You want to streamline your communication. I created at some point a specific video that I can share with you later on how can you use Zapier, which it's a automation tool.
Oh, I love automation. So I spent literally 5 hours on Friday tweaking our CRM with automation. So
it's awesome. Oh my God. No, I'm exactly the same. I can geek out on that for hours and hours. But what I created was, so with this free plan in Zapier, you can create one-step automation. And basically, if you have a phone system like Dialpad or whatever, RingCentral, whatever you're using for your business, this is all free. You can create a Zapier that for every new call adds the number to a spreadsheet. So that's your first CRM if you want, right? So if you were to build that, it takes about 10 minutes to build. It's free, and it connects to your social. So you get a new phone call, the number is in the spreadsheet, and then the spreadsheet has all these columns so that you can leave notes, if they're interested or if you're quoted them, right? And then just make sure that you're following. So if you're able to do 5 to 8 follow-ups, implement that. It doesn't have to be all phone calls, text messages, emails. There's now tools even for do voicemail drops.
Oh, really?
So you record an audio and then it leaves a missed call and a voicemail. So it looks like you call, I missed a call, and then you hear the voicemail. So there's another touch point that you can do.
Oh, I love that, because we don't again, talking on the phone is definitely, it's so time consuming too. But it's so important, especially in the beginning. And honestly, what you're describing, this follow up, when I talk to, well, honestly, again, taking this back away from cleaning businesses, but just home services or any service-based business, somebody actually calling you back is an absolute miracle on earth nowadays. So people get dazzled when you call them back. They're like, oh my gosh, nobody called me back. And that's the thing for us in our competition in our area. Nobody calls anybody back. It makes it really easy to impress people because it's they're shocked that you're actually reaching out. So it's it is so easy. It's you literally have to do the bare minimum to impress people because the competition is so bad. And I'm not suggesting just do the bare minimum, but if you're not doing it, it's come on, guys. Like it's so easy. And even, sending, especially say you're in the field, right? Setting something up so that it texts them back, as you suggested earlier on, like an automation to send a text. I don't know if that's through your particular, like, how would you set that up? Or is there any softwares you would recommend of like missed call, send a text? What would that look like?
Yeah, so a lot of CRM is a customer relations management system. It's basically where you host your contact database and you can manage communication. A lot of people have their own systems, and you can implement something like a missed call. There's automation. All automation is what is a trigger, what starts an automation, and what is the process of the automation, right? So the missed call text is just basically there's a missed call and then send a text message. So whenever we start working with a new client, we implement a few things. So the first thing that we do is we get on a call with them to do some branding exercises, understand the target customer, and just make sure that we're creating content that resonates with your values. Then we build the systems like your lead nurture, customer retention, your winbacks. We build all the emails, all the SMS, all the text messages. Set up tracking, and then we also have. Oh, that's another thing that if your audience is not doing pop-ups. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like pop-ups, but they are. I mean, if you don't like them, there's one that is only for like exit, like whenever somebody's exiting, and it's just getting. And the cool thing about pop-ups is that you can give offers like promotions and stuff, but you can also create like things that are just valuable, like a PDF or like a little whatever book or something using AI, and then just get some more leads. So that's also something that we optimize for whenever we have a new client. So we make sure first that your website has a pop-up, a chatbot, so you are capturing more leads. Then we build your lead nurture process, emails, text messages, voicemails. We create tasks. So if you have a sales team or if you're running sales yourself, also have a checklist on a daily to do. So today you have to follow up with this person because you gave them a quote 2 days ago. You also need to follow up with this person because they had their first booking yesterday and you want to get a review, right? So you have a task list of everything that your sales team needs to do. And then we build your customer retention and retention processes. And the last thing that we do once everything is ready, we continue to optimize, is we create monthly campaigns. So right now, spring cleaning, we just did February for Valentine's, so we'll be running promotion for Valentine's. We're doing spring clean right now, and then just do it, go like that on a monthly basis. So we basically become a CRM as a service. Instead of getting a CRM, they can just get our service, and we become their CRM with all these funnels already built and an ongoing optimization process that we do.
That is one very impressive, and something that, especially in the beginning, I would have loved to have instead of basically. So for us, for our CRM, we actually use ClickUp, and we have just highly customized it to our exact needs because of the task management of it all and the automations that it offers, and integrating with Zapier, of course. But it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of like, we know what we're doing in that aspect, and it's very overwhelming to start from scratch in that way. And a lot of people simply do not have the time or bandwidth to even figure it out, and then when it starts going wrong, okay, now you really are freaking out because you don't know what's going on. So that is very, very impressive, all of the things that your services offer. So who would you say is your ideal cleaning business owner? Like, I'm just curious, like what would the person that you would want to work with look like?
So usually to really be able to get enough value from our service, you're getting about 20 to 25 leads per week on a minimum. So you're getting about 100 leads per month, and then you're either don't have these systems or you don't know the systems, or maybe you have the systems and nobody's using them, or you don't even know, or you're not happy with your conversion and you're liking that process. But if you're having less than 20, 25, it's probably not a good fit at this moment. But again, I'll can reach out. So if you're not interested in these services, we also can help with kind of like diagnosing your funnel. So a lot of people that are going to be listening to this, they just don't know. They don't know what their conversion rate is. They don't know what their lifetime value is. So for those people, even if it's not the right time, they don't have enough volume right now, they can still book a call. We can review their numbers and kind of like, design a map that gets them to where they can actually get our service. And then in the meantime, we also have some free resources that people can use to get started, like you said, like this free CRM template and things like that.
That's super valuable, especially just the diagnostics of like, again, a lot of times we just get so overwhelmed because we don't even know where to begin. So having somebody kind of guide you through, well, this is what this is what this is, and this is what I would suggest, kind of that touching base, and then they're off to the races kind of thing. Because the lack of knowledge sometimes is just paralyzing. You don't know where to start or what to do or anything like that. So I love that.
Yeah.
Any particular free resources that you would like to like us to link that you would think our audience would find useful?
I think that this free CRM, it has a video on how to set up like your Zapier, connect your phone system to a spreadsheet. It has a spreadsheet that you can use as a template. So I think that would be super useful, especially for those that are kind of like getting started and want to organize their leads. So I think that would be really useful for them.
Awesome. Well, if you share it, we'll definitely put it in the resources below, because I definitely want people to take some action on this. And I would say overarchingly, like what I'm getting from this is call your dang leads and then call them again, and just keep that following up and keep tweaking things, whether it be paid ads, whether it be, your branding, marketing, anything, just whatever you're spending money on, especially like don't just let it sit and rest. Actually take a peek at it on a regular basis. So how often would you suggest that we're looking at, like, is it a weekly basis? Is it monthly how long do you let it experiment till you do the tweaking basically? What's that time period look like?
Well, it depends on your level of knowledge on what you're tweaking. Technically, I like if we're talking about ads, for example, I like to have at least 200 people see an ad before changing anything, which is about $60 or $70 per ad.
Sure.
So that's what like if you're running, you get in a bunch of ads, run it for about a week, maybe like do a couple $100, and then you can see which are, you can see the breakdown, and then from there you can start optimizing. But basically you want to do at least $50 to $100 for every single ad that you do if you want to start optimizing. Okay. Anything less than that is you're probably going to be changing things too fast.
Got to give it time to actually see if it's working and not be trigger happy, basically.
Right. And if you want to do something like Facebook ads has this thing, it's called dynamic creative. It's just a fancy way to say, give Facebook a bunch of different ads, like a bunch of videos, a bunch of copy, and then have their AI mix and match. So that's an easy way if you want to test on ads. And then it's less of what you can, instead of doing one ad and then next week another ad, you can have 5 ads and then just letting it run. And then you are reviewing it on a weekly basis, but Facebook is choosing the best of the best.
I love that. And I'm just so happy you said, like, basically static ads are dead and that video is the way to go. And so for those listening that are running static ads, which is probably pretty much everybody who's ran a Facebook ad because you don't have any video content, it sounds like it's time for us all to get in gear and get some video quality video content, either, an influencer, ourselves speaking, or a client speaking. It sounds like that is the way to go. And I would imagine it will do much, much, much better for us because it's actually enticing and people like to see people, especially nowadays. Like, we're all addicted to reels. I mean, might as well go in the direction that we're all addicted to, Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be super fancy videos either. It just has, the more authentic, the better. So like just regular, kind of like you're there, you're cleaning before, after, day in the life. All those videos you don't need a professional team to record it. You just need to be in the place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Cell phone videos, like literally since, that's how I announced my business when I was 22, was a video on my cell phone sitting down announcing my business. And like my love for video content literally started that day. I look back at that video and it's super cringy, but it worked. I just posted it on Facebook and I got my free reviews, from doing some free cleanings, and we were off. So like you are preaching to the choir of like, I'm fully all about video. It's really proved very fruitful for me. And I'm happy that you are reiterating what I already believe. So it's nice to hear that that's validated with the data.
Yes, we're on the same boat.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. This has been really, really insightful. If anybody wants to find out more, perhaps about your services, whether the free resources, the diagnostics, or the whole shebang, where can they find you?
Yeah, so they can just go to our website. That's gbg.marketing. GBG as grow, baby, grow. And then it's .marketing instead of .com. So over there, they can, if they don't know where they are, they can just get the free conversion diagnosis so that we know what their conversion rate is and if we can add value. I'll share with you the free resource for the free CRM that they can implement. And if they just want to learn more about our service, the website as well.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear how people think of this, because I think it's going to really help clear up a lot of confusion around this topic, because we certainly are not advertising experts. We're cleaners. So
Yeah.
I appreciate all of your knowledge. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody hit that like, hit that subscribe. Any other questions you have, maybe we have another episode following up with all of your guys' specific questions on anything to do with advertising funnel systems. Would love to hear them down below, guys. So make sure you hit that subscribe, hit that like, and we will see you in the next episode of Filthy Rich Cleaners. Bye, guys.